Mark, you're 100% correct, and you're 100% correct too in your assessment of Barilaro. I made that point 2 weeks ago. I couldn't think of anyone as a better appointment, but it's a $500,000 a year job approximately, and you've got Perrottet and these people saying, well, it's not a cabinet decision, we're at arm's length. Now, if we're going to make a job such as that available to anybody and pay them $500,000, surely a government has to be involved.
Yeah, you'd think so. I would have thought establishing these. The main one is the Agent General in London, which was abandoned under John Fay because Neil Pickard there had disgraced himself. So these had been abandoned over 20 or 30 years. They brought them back thinking that a provincial government, a New South Wales government, needs some trade representation overseas. I would have thought it's a national responsibility. It's another example of New South Wales funding things that are better discharged by the Commonwealth government with its export powers. So they've decided to do it. You would have thought it would be a cabinet decision. I suppose the only defence the government can really muster is the change in leadership from Berejiklian to Perrottet. Berejiklian wanted this Jenny West to have the job signed off on it. Berejiklian resigned because of the ICAC inquiry, and maybe under Perrottet they decided to take a different direction. That's the only thing that looks obvious.
But I just want you to come back to that assessment you made of Barilaro, because few have made it. I made that point here on the program. Let's just hear that again.
Well, John Barilaro, before he got into Parliament, ran a very successful business around Queanbeyan district. He was an exporter. He got into Parliament. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but I said to Barilaro, Alan, the reason you're unpopular, John, is because you got things done. There's plenty of loafers and good-for-nothing ministers in there who never achieve anything over a decade in office in that Macquarie Street Parliament. But Barilaro was a doer. And one of the reasons the lefties don't like him is that he stood up against the ridiculous koala set, which was declaring roundabouts and racecourses and football grounds and long-standing housing estates to be koala habitat. So Barilaro made some enemies in there, and they've had a shot at him, but his credentials in knowing industry leaders, in knowing the portfolio area, in having a big personality to knock on doors, to actually get access for our export markets, who would you find better than him to do the job? Mm-hmm. And he says, and I'm sure it's true, he just applied to it as a private citizen having resigned from Parliament. So he's done nothing wrong. And I think New South Wales, sadly, is going to miss out on the best person who could have filled the position.
And here's a bloke who was way ahead of the curve on nuclear energy and was so knowledgeable, seen to be so knowledgeable, that at an international convention in America, Barilaro was asked to address all the hotshots in America with his views about nuclear energy. I mean, they know who he is.